My phone screen casts a cold blue glow over my face at 2:17 a.m. I squint at the flood of text messages lighting up my dark Chicago apartment. May, please call us. It's urgent. May, where are you? This is an emergency. Call now. My hands tremble as I scroll through my parents' increasingly frantic messages. The contrast between my pristine, minimalist condo, clean lines, carefully chosen furniture, and the chaotic digital panic on my screen feels almost surreal. I've worked hard to build this life, a sanctuary away from their constant drama. Then a news alert appears. Tyler's mugshot. My stomach drops. My brother, the golden boy, stares back with bloodshot eyes and that familiar half-smirk he always used on our parents. The smirk that said he knew he'd be saved no matter what. The phone vibrates in my palm. I answer before I can talk myself out of it. May, please, you have to help him. My mother's voice is sharp, panicked. What's happening? I ask, though I already know. My father cuts in, his tone grim. Tyler's been arrested. They're saying he stole millions from investors. It's all lies. A misunderstanding. I stand and look out at Chicago's glittering skyline. What exactly are the charges? Wire fraud, embezzlement. They're claiming $2.5 million. His voice shakes in a way I've never heard before. The FBI's involved, May. You're a lawyer, you can fix this. My mother sobs in the background. I press my forehead against the cool glass. I'm a corporate finance attorney, not a criminal defense lawyer. But you know people, Dad insists. You have connections. This is your brother, my brother, the one they always moved heaven and earth for while I scraped by. A memory surfaces, 6 months ago standing in the same spot, phone pressed to my ear, voice steady despite my desperation. The insurance won't cover all the water damage, I had explained. I need somewhere to stay while they repair the condo. Just a loan until the claim processes. $12,000 would cover temporary housing. Mom's voice had been cool, detached. We'd love to help, but we just can't right now. You understand. And then her parting shot. If you had focused on being a wife instead of a lawyer, you wouldn't be dealing with this alone. Caleb would have handled it. As if my ex-husband's affair with my colleague was somehow my fault for working too hard. I moved to my laptop and opened Facebook. The evidence is right there. Photos of Mom and Dad in Florida with Tyler, timestamped 2 days after they said they couldn't help me. Their smiling faces on a chartered fishing boat. The caption, celebrating Tyler's new business venture. The $60,000 they gave him for his bar. The same bar now tied to his fraud scheme. I closed the laptop with a quiet click. For 33 years I've watched them drop everything for Tyler while I stayed in the shadows. The state piano competition they missed for his baseball game. My law school graduation they left early because Tyler had a situation. Every achievement minimized. Every need ignored. May, are you still there? Dad's voice cuts through my thoughts. I pace my apartment, attorney brain calculating. Wire fraud, $2.5 million. Federal charges. Potential sentences. I'll come tomorrow, I hear myself say. Oh, thank God, Mom breathes. We knew you'd help. Tyler always said you'd come through if things got bad. The rage bubbles up, sharp and unexpected. They haven't asked about my life, my work, whether I can even leave. Just assumed I'd drop everything again for their golden son. I haven't said I'll help yet, I clarify, voice cool. I said I'll come. We'll discuss options when I get there. That's all I can promise right now. I end the call before they can argue. Dawn breaks as I close my suitcase, my face set with resolve. The woman in the mirror looks different. Still me, but with something harder in her eyes. I've spent my life trying to earn even a fraction of the love they gave Tyler. No more. I'll go to Hartford, but this time it's on my terms. If they want my help, they'll have to face some uncomfortable truths. Starting with the fact that their golden son isn't just tarnished, he's criminal. And I'm done being the afterthought. The next morning, my childhood home in Hartford looms like a museum dedicated to Tyler Evans. I stand frozen in the entryway, surrounded by a gallery of his life. Baseball trophies gleam on every shelf. Photos trace his rise from chubby-cheeked toddler to young entrepreneur. Conspicuously absent? Any sign I ever existed? May, thank God you're here. Mom approaches me, arms out but stopping short of an embrace. Her eyes are red, free of makeup. Dad lingers behind her, looking 10 years older than the last time I saw him. I set my suitcase down with a deliberate thud. Where are the case documents? I ask. In the dining room, Dad replies. But first, we need to tell you what we've done. On the dining room table, papers are spread across the oak surface like evidence at a crime scene. Bank statements, court filings, and a property deed marked with a bright yellow post-it for Tyler's bail. You put up the house? My voice sounds distant even to me. Mom wrings her hands.
$600,000.
The judge set bail this morning. Jesus Christ. I sink into a chair, scanning the documents with growing disbelief. Wire transfers, shell companies, investor lists. The money trail is painfully clear. Your brother made some poor decisions, Dad says. But he's not a criminal. I hold up a bank statement. This shows systematic fraud over 18 months. That's not a poor decision. That's a felony. He was desperate, Mom whispers. His business was failing. A notation catches my eye. A transfer from my parents' account to Tyler's bar 4 months ago. Not the $60,000 I'd known about. An additional $45,000 you knew. I look up sharply. You knew something was wrong with his finances months ago. Their guilty exchange of glances confirms it. I push back from the table and walk into the living room, my steps guided by muscle memory to the mantel. My law school graduation photo is gone. In its place sits a framed article about Tyler's bar opening. We needed room for newer photos, Mom says softly from behind me. My phone buzzes. Lucas. I step onto the porch for privacy. How bad is it? He asks, his voice calm after hours of tension. They used their house for bail. They knew about the financial problems months ago and said nothing. And apparently I've been erased from the family history. I'm sorry, May, he says, his voice steady. Remember your boundaries. You don't owe them a rescue. I know. Across the street, a neighbor walks their dog. The normalcy feels surreal. How's your surgery schedule? Booked solid. But I can fly out this weekend if you need me. Unlike my parents, Lucas never makes me ask twice. I'll let you know. Love you. Love you too. Stay strong. I make another call, this time to Victoria Chen, my mentor at the firm. Her advice is direct. Don't represent him. Recommend a criminal attorney. Keep your distance. Back inside, my parents huddle at the kitchen counter, whispering. They straighten when they see me like guilty teenagers. The prosecutor called. Dad says. Tyler's first hearing is Tuesday. If Tyler violates bail conditions, you lose the house, I say, leaning against the door frame. You understand that? Mom nods miserably. We had no choice. What about your retirement savings? I ask. Dad looks away. Most of it went to his previous ventures. The weight of their sacrifice for Tyler crashes over me. Decades of favoritism have left them vulnerable to his manipulation. I think of my own careful financial planning, the emergency fund I built after they refused to help me. The irony stings. My phone chimes with a text from the county prosecutor's office confirming tomorrow's jail visit. I stand taller. I've made some decisions. Their faces lift with fragile hope. I'll recommend a good criminal defense attorney. I won't give you money, and we all, including Tyler, will attend family therapy. Mom's face crumples. After everything we've done for you, what exactly have you done for me that compares to what you've done for Tyler? The question hangs in the air like smoke. Dad's face flushes, then pales. We don't have much choice, do we? You always have choices. You've just made bad ones. I turn toward the stairs. I need to prepare for tomorrow's jail visit. May, Dad calls after me. He's still your brother. I pause, not turning around. Yes, and that's the only reason I'm here. In my childhood bedroom, preserved like a time capsule from high school, I spread my notes across the twin bed. The prosecutorial strategy is clear. The evidence is substantial. The best outcome for Tyler will be a plea deal, but it will still mean prison time. I close my notepad and stare at the ceiling, the same ceiling I'd gazed at as a teenager, planning my escape from Tyler's shadow. The resentment I've carried for years has settled into something sharper, more defined. Tomorrow I'll confront my golden brother in his fallen state. For the first time, the balance of power will be in my hands. The next morning, after meeting with the prosecutor, I went to the county jail to see him. The visiting room overwhelms the senses before I even sit. The walls are dull beige, scarred with marks and stains from decades of wear. Fluorescent lights hum overhead, washing the room in a pale glow that makes even the guards look weary. I shift uncomfortably in the cold metal chair, its chill cutting through my skirt despite the lingering September heat outside. A heavy door opens at the end of the row, the clang echoing across the cavernous space. Voices of inmates blend with the rattle of keys. The correctional officer glances my way, face expressionless. "Visitor for Evans," he calls flatly. I straighten, instinctively falling into courtroom posture. Shoulders square, chin raised, face composed. The folder in front of me holds documents I've already committed to memory. Bank records, forged papers, investor complaints. My hand stills after a brief tremor against the manila cover. Tyler steps through the doorway, and at first I hardly recognize him. The orange jumpsuit hangs loosely, making him seem diminished. His usually styled hair hangs limp, stubble shadows his jaw. Yet as he nears, that familiar smirk resurfaces. The same one from when he stole Dad's car at 16, dropped out of college, or gambled with my credit card. He sits across from me, the scratched plexiglass between us distorting his face. His bloodshot eyes, though weary, carry their usual arrogance. "So, big sister, the lawyer finally shows up," he drawls, leaning back like this is a casual cafe meeting. "Took you long enough?" I don't respond right away, instead opening the folder slowly. The officer watches us silently from his post. "You look awful," I say evenly. Tyler scoffs. "Not everyone sleeps in $1,000 sheets in their fancy Chicago condos. You've got it all: career, money, a home. What more do you need?" The jab about my condo flood hits its mark, though I keep my expression steady like facing opposing counsel. "Let's discuss your case," I reply, tapping the folder. "Wire fraud, embezzlement, 2.5 million missing." I slide a page toward the glass. "Including $850,000 from the Hendersons, Mom and Dad's neighbors, the ones who brought food when Mom had surgery." His smirk falters. "It's a misunderstanding, is it?" I flip to another page. "Transfers to offshore accounts. Withdrawals matching your Vegas trips." His face hardens. "You've been talking to the prosecutor." "Someone had to. Mom and Dad were too busy risking their house for your bond to see what you've done." The smirk disappears completely. "You were always perfect, weren't you? No mistakes. Never needed help." I laugh, sharp in the sterile silence. "That's what they told you? That I never needed anything?" "They gave you everything," he insists. "Harvard Law, connections. I worked 2 jobs, borrowed $200,000 in loans, and built those connections myself, while you burned through their money on failed businesses." For the first time, doubt flickers in his eyes. "They said—" I know what they said. My voice stays even, though anger stirs underneath. "They told you I'd manage while they covered your rent, your car, your bar. The same bar you used for your schemes." His gaze shifts toward the guard, then back. "You have to help me, May. You know people. Fix this." I pull out another document. "I already discussed a plea deal with the prosecutor." His eyes widen in real surprise. "You did?" 18 months federal with good behavior. 3 years supervised release, 6 months house arrest, full restitution. 18 months? He blinks, stunned. "I can't. It's that or risk 8 to 10 years at trial. The evidence is overwhelming. Even Mom and Dad see it now." He leans forward, palms flat. "Remember when we were kids? I covered for you at that concert. You owe me." The attempt at manipulation almost makes me laugh. "You were the one sneaking out. I stayed home and told them you were asleep." His face falters. "Well, what about—" "Stop." I raise a hand. "This isn't about childhood favors. It's about the $2.5 million you stole, including from family friends." His expression shifts, the mask cracking. He leans closer, whispering, "Mom and Dad will lose everything because of me." For the first time, I see something genuine in his eyes. Not charm, not arrogance, but fear. Fear not for himself, but for them. But it doesn't move me as it once might have. "You should have thought about that before you used their name to lure investors." I was going to pay it back, all of it. His voice trembles. "The market collapsed and then—" "Save it for the judge," I cut in, stacking my papers. "That's it? You're leaving?" Panic slips into his tone. I glance down at him, finally seeing the boy who had every opportunity yet always demanded more. "You're pathetic." Shock flashes across his face. No one, certainly not our parents, has ever spoken to him this way. "May, wait," he pleads, but I turn away, signaling the officer that I'm finished. "May." Tyler's voice echoes against the concrete walls. "You can't just walk away. We're family." The heavy security door slams shut, silencing him. I pass through the processing area, past the scanners, and out into the parking lot where the September sun feels almost intrusive after the harsh fluorescent lights. In my rental car, I grip the steering wheel until my knuckles turn pale. Only there, hidden behind tinted glass, do the tears finally come. Not for Tyler, but for the child who played piano for hours, desperate for her parents' praise. For the teenager who won debate championships no one attended. For the law student who graduated to empty seats. The tears sting, not of sadness but of something sharper, cleansing. For the first time, I'm done trying to earn what should have been unconditional. And it feels like freedom. I wipe my eyes, start the engine. Tyler chose his path. Now I'm choosing mine. The next day, the attic reeks of forgotten years. Dust swirls in a beam of afternoon light as I sift through boxes neatly labeled in my mother's careful handwriting. I sneeze, wiping my nose on my worn Chicago Law sweatshirt. May Achievements, one box reads. Tucked behind holiday decor and old tax returns. I pull it out. Cardboard scraping the wooden floor. Inside are the pieces of my life. Discarded. My valedictorian medal tangled in ornament hooks, awards. Bent and faded. A Harvard Law acceptance letter buried beneath broken tinsel. I lift the medal, its ribbon fraying. Meanwhile, downstairs, Tyler's baseball trophies gleam on custom shelves. May, are you up there? Mom's voice drifts up. Lunch is ready. The lawyer you suggested comes at 2. I'll be down soon, I call, steady despite the anger coiling inside me. She climbs the stairs anyway, lingering at the top. What are you doing with that old stuff? Holding up the medal, I reply, wondering why my valedictorian medal is boxed with Christmas ornaments while Tyler's participation trophies have their own display case. Her face falters. We meant to put them out, we just never got around to it. For 15 years? She fidgets with her ring. Your father's on the phone with the advisor, trying to free up funds for Tyler's defense? Of course he is, I mutter, turning back to the box. She hovers a moment longer, then retreats. Beneath certificates, I uncover what I really came for, our family's financial records. Dad kept everything organized. Folder after folder spreads across the floor like evidence. The numbers speak for themselves. Tuition, $175,000 for me. $230,000 for Tyler, despite him dropping out twice. First car, $2,000 for a used Corolla. $21,000 for Tyler's new Jeep. Housing, $0 during my divorce and flood. $60,000 for Tyler's failed bar and repeated rent bailouts. Breathing in the stale attic air, I gather the most damning files and head downstairs. Halfway, I pause at their voices from the kitchen. She's been up there for hours, Mom whispers. Leave her, Dad says. She's always been the strong one. She'll come around. But what if she doesn't help? Richard, we could lose everything. She will. She's never let us down. Never let them down? They've never even seen me. I step into the kitchen and place the records on the table. I've scheduled someone for 6 p.m. Mom brightens. Another lawyer? A family therapist, Dr. Sanderson. Dad's cup rattles. We don't need therapy. We need legal help. You'll have both. But therapy isn't optional. May, this is absurd. Your brother could go to prison. And you're facing the cost of decades of favoritism. I tap the records. These are my terms. At 6, Dr. Sanderson arrives, silver hair framing sharp eyes. I arrange the chairs in a circle beneath Tyler's photo wall. Thank you for coming so quickly, I say, offering water. Your call sounded urgent, she replies as my parents enter. Their expressions tight. Let's start with family patterns, she says. Mom jumps in. We were a close family. Until May left for Chicago. I place a spreadsheet in the center of our circle. I've documented the financial disparity between Tyler and me. Dad picks up the paper. Evidence. My voice stays steady. The same tone I use with difficult clients. For the past 15 years, you've given Tyler about $437,000 in financial support. In that same time, I received $8,500. Mom's face reddens. That's not fair. You had scholarships. I reply. I worked 3 jobs in law school. I lived in a basement apartment with black mold. 6 months ago, when my condo flooded, you said you couldn't help with $12,000 for housing. 2 days later, you were on a fishing trip with Tyler, celebrating his venture with $60,000 of your money. Dad stares at the spreadsheet, his hand shaking slightly. This isn't only about money, I continue. It's about the piano recitals you skipped, the graduations you left early, the achievements you overlooked. We gave Tyler more because he needed it, Mom blurts. Tears running down her face, the room goes still. And what about what I needed? I asked softly. Dad sets the sheet aside. For the first time, he seems truly lost. Dr. Sanderson leans forward. This is good. Hard, but good. Let's talk about what each of you needed but didn't receive. I state my terms clearly. I'll recommend attorneys. I'll consult on the case. I won't pay toward Tyler's defense, and therapy continues for all of us, including Tyler once he's able. After the session, I stand alone in the living room. From my briefcase, I take out my childhood piano trophy, the state championship my parents missed for Tyler's baseball game. With care, I place it on the mantel beside Tyler's photos, small there but symbolic. Thursday. The federal courthouse looms like a monument to consequences. Reporters crowd the steps, cameras ready. I adjust my suit jacket and straighten my posture, aware of my parents shuffling behind me. Remember what we discussed? I murmur. Let the attorney handle everything. Mom's hand hovers near mine. May, please. There must be something else. No. The word cuts sharp, then I soften. We've been over this. The defense attorney knows federal cases. Dad clears his throat. Your mother just meant... I know what she meant. At the courthouse doors, I pause. Marshals escort a handcuffed figure, Tyler, his orange jumpsuit replaced by a sagging gray suit. His usual smirk is gone, replaced by fear. A reporter thrusts a mic forward. Mr. and Mrs. Evans, how do you feel about your son? I step in front. No comment at this time. Inside, marble floors echo underfoot. The courtroom doors rise before us. My stomach tightens. For 33 years, I've lived in Tyler's shadow. Today, that shadow is weight. Attorney James Whitfield greets us, silver hair catching the light. May, everything's in place for the plea deal. Mom grabs my arm. Plea agreement? What about a trial? If someone is innocent... He's not innocent, Mom, I whisper, guiding her to the bench. That's why we're here. Tyler's eyes meet mine as marshals seat him. Something unspoken passes between us. He's lived believing he was above every rule. Today he learns otherwise. The bailiff calls court to order. Judge Harmon enters, robes flowing. We rise. May. Mom whispers urgently. You could talk to the judge. You're respected. Explain it's a misunderstanding. That would be misconduct, I whisper back. And it wouldn't work. Dad adds, but your connections, not for sale. Not even for Tyler. Tyler turns, eyes pleading. I shake my head. The pressure is heavy, but I hold firm. The prosecutor, a compact woman with a steel voice, speaks. Your Honor, the United States has evidence that Tyler Evans defrauded investors of $2.5 million through wire fraud and false statements. She lays out the scheme. Then the victims speak, an elderly man with trembling hands. I invested my retirement savings because he was Richard Evans' son. He said his father taught him business ethics. Dad flinches. Mom suppresses a sob. A mother of two testifies next. He showed me family photos. Said I could trust the Evans name. I watch my parents' faces as the truth sinks in. Tyler didn't just ruin himself. He dragged their reputation down too. When Tyler stands before the judge, he looks diminished. The court accepts your guilty plea to one count of wire fraud. Judge Harmon rules. According to the plea deal, you are sentenced to 18 months in federal prison, followed by 3 years supervised release, including 6 months of home detention. Restitution begins upon release. The gavel falls. Tyler glances back, his expression mixed. Resentment, but also reluctant respect. I nod slightly. 18 months instead of 10 years was the best possible outcome. Outside, reporters swarm. Dad begins. My son made a terrible mistake, but... I cut in smoothly. The Evans family acknowledges the harm to the victims. Tyler is taking responsibility. The plea includes full restitution. Dad stares at me, surprised by my words. Mom squeezes my hand, her fingers trembling. In that simple gesture, she says everything. Perhaps this is recognition that I am no longer just an afterthought. No more questions, I add, turning away from the cameras. We descend the courthouse steps. The autumn sun warms our faces, though the air carries a chill. For the first time I can remember, my parents walk a few steps behind me, their pace slow and unsure on the stone stairs. I don't look back. The weight I carry feels different now. Not the burden of being ignored, but the responsibility of finally being noticed, of being, at last, heard. A year later, I arrange crimson chrysanthemums in a crystal vase, sunlight glinting off the diamond on my left hand. The kitchen is filled with the scent of cinnamon and sage, a comfort beyond temperature. Lucas moves behind me, his steady surgeon's hands brushing the turkey with confidence. "Your parents should be here soon," he says, kissing my temple. Nervous? Actually, no. I adjust a stubborn flower. It all feels different now. The doorbell rings through my Chicago home, my true sanctuary at last. I smooth my burgundy sweater and open the door to faces altered subtly by time. Mom's hair carries more silver. Dad's posture softer. "May," Mom greets, handing me a familiar leather portfolio. "I found your old piano music in the attic. Thought you'd want it back." "We passed your firm on the way in," Dad adds, offering Lucas a bottle of wine. "That Johnson case you mentioned, we read in the Tribune you won. Outstanding work." I accept both gesture and praise with quiet surprise. Guiding them inside were photographs, mine, Lucas's, and even some of Tyler, share space on floating shelves. Over appetizers. Mom mentions their recent move. The smaller house suits us better. Easier to manage now that we're fully retired. "Your father volunteers 3 days a week at the community college," she continues, pride in her voice. "Financial literacy for first-generation students," Dad explains with a wry smile. "Would have helped us years ago. Might have made retirement smoother." When Lucas asks about Tyler, the pause is brief, no longer the heavy silence it once brought. "His letters arrive often," Dad says. "The last one even asked about your work, May." "He mentioned your foundation idea," Mom adds. "Said he'd like to offer some input when he's out next spring." We move to the dining table, covered with dishes Lucas and I prepared. Crystal glasses reflect the candlelight. The contrast to last Thanksgiving, spent alone in my office with contracts, couldn't be greater. Before eating, Lucas suggests we share what we're thankful for this year. When my turn comes, I let the silence stretch, studying the faces around my table. Lucas, whose patience showed me what partnership truly means. My parents, who now see me. Even Tyler's absence feels like progress, a family rebalanced. I'm grateful for second chances, I finally say, and for hard truths. Lucas squeezes my hand beneath the table, a quiet recognition of all we've endured. Later, as Mom helps me pack leftovers, her voice falters. "I always thought you were strong, that you didn't need us like Tyler did. I was wrong about so much." Her eyes glisten. After dinner, I share my plans for a legal foundation addressing family financial abuse. This time, instead of steering the conversation back to Tyler, Dad asks thoughtful questions about its structure and funding. When we pose for the holiday card, I notice how naturally we stand together, not revolving around a single golden child, but as equals. Night comes early in November. After my parents retire and Lucas showers, I stand at the living room window. Snow falls in delicate flakes lit by street lamps. In the glass, I see the woman I've become layered with the shadow of who I once was, the daughter forever overlooked. I place my palm on the cool pane, frost forming around my fingertips. "Some things break," I whisper to no one in particular, "so stronger things can grow."